okay, like he's been with the company for a while. He's a guy that they want to push. Just because Liger didn't win, you're not going to. Why? I get it to be a cute moment, but the guy's 54 years old. The other match that had it was Ring of Honor versus CMLL versus New Japan was Dragon Lee, Bandito, and Taji Ishimori. Like Dragon Lee from CMLL beat Ishimori and Bandito. Like, so it's not like New Japan like is dominating and the booking is this. I mean, dude, you remember 3 years ago when there would be a New Japan Ring of Honor show? I mean, New Japan would come out on top every single match, and it was just very predictable. This was, I think, was done a little more evenly. And oh man, I was so mad about this. I just reading all these reviews, I feel like people really, not for nothing, give Ring of Honor credit. Their talent has been poached like so strongly the last 2 or 3 years. Like the WWE is just kind of picking and choosing, and AEW form. So like they're doing, to me, I think they're doing the best they can with what they have. I like what they're doing with Lifeblood. You know, it's tough right now. It's a tough market. Unless they're going to start signing people for longer term exclusive deals, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're doing fine. I really do. I don't think it's really that bad. I mean, I thought, you know, they had, like I said, their matches were good. I know some people were complaining about, you know, I don't know, like the Bully Ray surprise opponent, which was whatever, ended up being Flip Gordon, which I thought was good. I mean, it got a good pop when he came out, and I know some people were complaining. It's like, well, you have, you know, Ishii and you have Suzuki there, and you just put them in the Rumble. Well, you know, again, it's, you know, as people pointed out, including I think our friend Bagu, it's not just an ROH show; it's a New Japan show too. So, you know, they could have booked them in matches on this show, and they didn't. You know, like, and maybe it's just because they only had half the card to do it in, and that's fine. But they chose not to put those guys in, you know, major matches because they had their slots filled with Naito and Ibushi and Okada and Jay White and Tanahashi and Zack Sabre, and that's what they presented. So, you know, it's not ROH's fault that Tomohiro Ishii didn't have a match on the main card. He just had it in there. I mean, that's, you know, that's the nature of the card was, you know, a co-branded show with the two companies, and each company put in, you know, the people that they wanted to put in for those matches. So I don't think that's on ROH that, you know, Ishii or Suzuki didn't have a match on the main card. You know, it is what it is. So I thought it was a good show. I would go back and rewatch it again. And, you know, it'll be interesting to see where they go from here going forward with Taven as a new champion and, you know, now the tag titles being on a New Japan pro wrestling team.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're going to turn into WrestleMania and make it a 20-match show, which nobody wants it. Nobody wants to sit through 7 hours of wrestling. I don't care how great the wrestling is. 4 and change, which is what the Ring of Honor was. You and I are old guys, man. Like we said it at the show. Nothing dragged, and being there live, I was entertained thoroughly throughout the entire time. There wasn't any one match where I was like, "Oh my god, hurry up!" And that for a 4-hour show, there's something to be said for that. So, I commend Ring of Honor. I commend New Japan. I think they did a hell of a job at MSG, and I would definitely go back there and watch it again. Quick, out of 10, what do you rate it?
I think I gave it an 8.5 or somewhere around there. I mean, it was really good. It was entertaining, good matches. You know, they had some surprise debuts and things like that. So I liked it.
I gave it a little higher on the 8.75 scale, but if I finish Ibushi versus Naito, I might have to go back on that one. We talked about it in NXT. I mean, NXT was a 5-match show. It was it was a very, very good show. Top to bottom, good matches. I didn't go back and watch it yet. Have you?
No, I haven't gone back and watched it beyond what we, you know, saw on the initial viewing.
Right.
Maybe over the weekend at some point I'll do that. But yeah, I mean, I think that show got rave reviews from a lot of people, specifically the Gargano and Cole main event match, 2 out of 3 falls, which I just read, or I was just told, by the way, by our insider BK, that Uncle Dave Meltzer rated it 5.5 stars. Did you hear this? 5.5 stars for a match in the United States of America.
Hell of a job by Meltzer. Now, let me ask you something. So the 5 matches on NXT TakeOver, right? And everybody's giving that show 10 out of 10. If I gave you a 5-match card from the New Japan show, and those matches were Okada versus Jay White, Ibushi versus Naito, Zack Sabre versus Tanahashi, Dragon Lee, Bandito, and Ishimori, and Jeff Cobb and Will Ospreay. those 5 matches, you would have to sit there and rate that card a 10, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if those are the only 5 matches that you have, then
Just
then
5
yes.
matches, and that's what I'm giving you.
Yeah.
So I commend everybody for loving the NXT show. I think it was an amazing show, but when you only have 4 to 5 matches, it's a lot easier to put on a great show. And I think NXT TakeOver, I think they could actually even add a match in there. Not every main event in NXT, it's not New Japan. Not every main event has to go 45 minutes to an hour. I will say I loved the main event. You're gonna hate me on this. There were too many kickouts from old Johnny Gargano. I was okay with all of them up until Red Dragon hit total elimination and he kicked out of that one again too. I was like, it was a little much for me on the kickout though, Joe.
There was a lot of kickouts, a lot of near falls at the end. Some people, there's limitations, I think, on stuff like that. Some people are cool with it. Some people are not as into it. I mean, if you want to look at it from a perspective of, Adam Cole hit his finisher, which is, Shining Wizard, right, for the first fall, and then he pinned him immediately, and he hit him with like a bunch of them in the third fall when theoretically Gargano should be much more tired, and he kicked out. So, you could think of things like that.
He also hit the Panama Sunrise, right?
Yeah, he hit that. I mean, like there was interference, like you said, from Undisputed Era. So, people could, if you want to get into stuff like that, then I can see where people may not like it. If fans are into more of the suspending, disbelief of things like that, then but the match is really good either way. I mean, there was no, no missed spots, no dull spots. It was very good. I mean, so there was a lot of good wrestling over the course of the weekend, and we didn't really talk about WrestleMania. I know we only have about 45 seconds to do that. But all those shows, those major shows, I thought were wins for those companies. So in NXT, ROH, New Japan.
Do you think WrestleMania was a win?
I think WrestleMania, it depends on how they define. I'm sure for them it was a win because they probably made boatloads of money off of it. I don't think that they hit any home runs in it as far as, like a launching pad for them as the company. I thought the best thing on the show as far as WrestleMania was the Kofi Kingston Daniel Bryan match. That the match was really good. And I thought, putting over Kingston was, letting him have that sort of, moment and celebration, and the fans being super into him winning, and having his kids come and celebrate with him in the ring. I thought that was overall the best thing on the show. But other than that, I don't really think there was too much else that was. I mean, the Rollins and Brock thing that opened the show was kind of neat. Didn't overstay its welcome. So I thought that was kind of good. I was kind of surprised that they did that, but I'm glad that they did. But outside of that, I don't think there's too much else. Like a lot of titles changed hands. Some matches were good. Some matches were kind of just okay. Some
matches were god awful terrible. I'm looking at you 38 minutes of Triple H and Batista. I'll agree with you. I've actually watched the Kofi versus Daniel Bryan match 3 times in total. So those two guys had a phenomenal match. Kofi looked great. Probably the best he ever looked. And I think a lot of the credit needs to go to Daniel Bryan. I'm sure Daniel Bryan kind of put that whole match together, and it was a phenomenal match. I was underwhelmed by a lot of the stuff I had high expectations for. The SmackDown tag match I thought could have been a lot better, but it only went like 8.5, 9 minutes or something. I feel like it was just getting started. Randy Orton and AJ Styles. It's just what was the exact text you sent me when I said, "What did you think of that match?"
Oh, I don't remember, but
I think it was verbatim. Orton sucks, dude. I think
he just does. That's just his. He seems to work a slow, slow, deliberate style of match. Which for whatever the reasons are behind that's fine, but does not make for very many exciting or 4 or 5 star matches with him in it anymore. No. So I think Styles did the best that he could. I'm glad Styles got the win. But yeah, that match was a little underwhelming. There's some other stuff on the card. The Angle and Corbin thing. I thought I was surprised that Corbin won that match. Like you said, the Batista Triple H match was exceedingly long for 2 guys that are 50 years old.
Not only that, the conversations that Batista was having with the referee mid-match because he didn't know what to do, like setting up spots on the outside, was Bush League D-level Frank Goodman 2001 skate safe America USA level garbage. It was so like Triple H, like you and I were talking about this. Triple H did such a great job at TakeOver, and then at WrestleMania, Finn Balor and Bobby Lashley go 4.5 minutes for the IC title. A 4-way tag title match on the SmackDown side goes 8.5, 9 minutes. Ray and Joe goes a minute because Ray was hurt. That's fine. But then you have Triple H who's got the balls to go 40 minutes with Dave Batista. You had some stupid intro, like your Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Like, it's cool, I get it, but the time it takes, man. You have a 7-hour show. In what realm do people like, you know what? It's going to go good on this 8-hour show with 37 matches? Let's throw Triple H and Batista in here for the better part of 45 minutes. Come on, man. And then I read something today where Triple H says Vince McMahon doesn't get enough credit for accepting change. Are you effing kidding me? You have The Undertaker show up on Raw, Triple H and Batista going 50 minutes, and the Hardys winning the tag team titles, and you're telling me Vince McMahon is the stalwart of change in the professional wrestling business? What a bunch of... Hello. Go ahead, Joe. I'm going to curse you.
No. So we should probably wrap it up then. I think for this
That's a good idea.
If you're on the brink of bad words being said here, we should probably wrap it up. But yeah,
Judge Judy once said, "Don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining." And that, my friends, is what Triple H is doing. Right on my kneecaps, Joe.
So anyway, Mike, where can people find us on social media if they aren't already following us?
Well, Joe, anybody listening, except for you, Hunter, at All Night Long WP, everywhere you look. I'm talking your Facebook. I'm talking your Twitter. I'm talking your Instagram. Go over to YouTube, youtube.com/All Night Long Wrestling Podcast is where you could find us. We are literally everywhere. And if you want to be everywhere, we're talking everywhere, then we want you to head over to bluechew.com and use the promo code WPP. You pay $5 shipping and handling, $5, and you won't be handling yourself anymore because that $5 is going to get you Blue Chew, which has all the good ingredients from the Cialis and the Viagra that they lost their patent on, that you can get now in a chewable. It works like this. It works quicker than Samoa Joe and Rey Mysterio. And it makes you last longer than Triple H and Batista. Oh, God, that was so good, dude. So don't forget, BlueChew.com. Your promo code is WPP. There were a couple of things I want to talk about. Maybe we'll talk about in the coming weeks. We got a big event coming up called the Crockett Cup, Joe. The big event coming up, it's about 2 weeks from this Saturday, the Crockett Cup, the NWA, the Ring of Honor co-promotion. And now I just found out Yuji Nagata and who the hell am I forgetting is his tag team partner that just got entered into the Crockett Cup. It's going to bother me, Joe.
I don't know, Mike. Maybe we can put it out on our social media as we preview the NWA Crockett Cup over the next couple of weeks.
We'll be talking about the Crockett Cup. We'll be talking about the title defenses on that show. It's going to be a lot of fun. Just because WrestleMania is over, we got an Evolve show coming up this weekend. Just because WrestleMania is over does not mean the wrestling's over, because we also have the Superstar Shakeup next week. And if you want to hear what we have to say on the Superstar Shakeup, next week, Wednesday or Thursday, we'll be coming to you live. Again, everywhere you look, that's All Night Long WP. If you want to see our Instagram stories and our pictures from WrestleCon, All Night Long WP. Facebook.com, All Night Long WP, and All Night Long Wrestling Podcast on YouTube. Another week is in the books. We appreciate you guys listening. He's the Stallion. I am the Enforcer, and we're tapping out.